Yeah, it's there's the world story and there's the North America story. Globally, 3 points that we're watching very, very closely. One is the continued attacks by the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. The most recent vessel attack was actually a fertilizer vessel originating from Saudi Arabia. And so that kind of brings that home that this is a real situation we need to look at. Number two is Iran's role in these attacks. And what we're really worried about is if they start to put any pressure on the Persian Gulf, that could be detrimental in a way that we haven't ever seen on the nitrogen market. A tremendous amount of urea flows from that part of the world, so we're watching that very closely. And the third being Russia. There are growing courses of folks wanting more sanctions against Russia. That political assassination here of late has people worked up. I doubt that that happens, but it is something we need to watch for. So those are the big three global points. Domestically, it's all around this early start to spring. We had a tremendously large fall run. It didn't finish up until mid-December. Now here we are in February, already started up across a lot of the Midwest. 60 days is not a long time to refill the coffers. We've heard some anhydrous is going to the ground. It's been much more phosphate and potash. Anhydrous is a little bit of worry. The warm temperatures this far ahead of planting, maybe we lose a little bit unless we put the additives to it to stabilize it. But we have been seeing a lot of toolbars going out there. I know Northwest Missouri, they're out running. We're continuing to hear more and more retailers out there, more farmers out there getting work done. Yeah, I do think we're going to start to see a correction the closer we get to summer. Unfortunately, I think we've got more pain at the pump, if you will, before we get to that point. But yeah, we are very optimistic we're going to see more attractive levels as we start getting into the warmer months. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We're obviously grain prices have taken a real big hit. Corn is the one I watch primarily. December 24 corn. That's gone from a range of 510 to 525 down to the current 450, 460. Fertilizer ratios were already a little bit on the high side, and now all of a sudden you dump 50, 60 cents every bushel. Those relationships have gotten out of whack. Phosphate being the worst. Right now we're either the second or the third worst ratio between those two products going back to 1989. And unfortunately, I'd still say phosphate has more short-term upside than it does downside. Yeah, it seems like everything is now starting to try and catch up with each other. Obviously the early start for anhydrous after the tremendous run in the fall, now all of a sudden has those markets starting to tick a little bit higher. Urea has been very hot in the North American marketplace. It's up several dozen dollars here in the last couple of weeks. And now it sounds like it's starting to pull up the UAN market as well. So everything is trying to rebalance itself as it's playing catch up. And I think that's what we're going to see. It's just everything is going to kind of react to each other until we finally hit that point where everybody says enough is enough. Biggest thing I've been trying to say at this Commodity Classic is please, please, please talk to your retailer. I'm not going to sit there and try and say talk to this retailer, that retailer. Talk to your supplier. We had a great fall run. We ran the anhydrous, the phosphate, and the potash market empty. And the difference between middle of December and the middle of February is 2 months. That's not enough time. We need to be having those conversations. Not that they're going to go out and get every single thing, but at least gives them a little bit more information to go off of what to prepare for. With the market playing catch up like it is, it's very dangerous. I'm not going to say we're going to run out, but it turns into a little bit of a bid game. So the sooner you have those conversations, the better off we'll be. When you look at it, urea is really the focus there. We actually did a little study when everything started to fire up about what comes out of that area. And between North Africa and the Middle East, 1 out of every 2 tons of urea produced and exported around the world comes from that little part of the global map. So obviously it's not 1 out of every 2 goes to the Persian Gulf, but again, you look at Iran dominating that eastern seaboard, and it's still a significant amount of urea exports coming from that sector of the world. If they start attacking ships and they can't flow freely, urea is in trouble.